go. So it's recording. So exercise 1E and 1F, you will have time next session, which is on Monday, to carry on as well. But I'm going to give you an intro to negative numbers. That's what we're going to do. So we go, negative numbers. What do you need to know? You need to be able to now add in the other direction. So in primary school, you did what we call counting numbers. So you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 100 and thousands. It was this direction. So we call that positive numbers. So you count it this way. So that's positive. Now we want you to work the same thing, but we want you to work in the negative direction. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goes this way, but you can also go -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and that's going the other direction. Okay, but as you go in this direction, technically the number is smaller. The more you go this way, the larger the number is. Okay, so this is the negative side. So let's start off with the first part of exercise 1E. They want you to be able to do these type of questions. 1F is the next page. Okay, so let's have a look at -3 plus 2. -3, let's have a look at the number line. Is -3 on the left side of 0 or is it on the right side of 0? Left side. So here's -3. I'm going to put a dot so you can visualize it. So usually I tell students to draw a number line, especially if you're not strong with negative numbers. Do a 0, start off with -3. So here's a dot. Great. So I got -3. I'm starting here. This is where -3 is. And then I say plus. So I'm adding on. So I should be getting larger because you're getting more, right? So which direction should I be going? Should I go to the right or left? Right. Very good. So I need to move to the right by how many units? 2. So that means right. This means go to the right by 2. So let's count it. -3. Moving to the right by 2. Let's go with Rory. Going from -3. If I move to the right by 2, where do I land? -1. Beautiful. So I go 1, 2, and I land at this spot. The answer for this one then is -3 plus 2, meaning -3 going to the right by 2 lands at -1. Now notice the way I'm laying out my answers. Can you see question? So that's my problem. Now the method is over here. So the method, I did -3, 1, 2, and that's why I knew it was that negative. That's method, answer. But I put it vertically. I didn't go horizontally. In your exercise books, remember, when you do the exercise, I want you to fold the paper in half, and I want you to work vertically down. Go down, don't go aside. What I don't want to see, I don't want to see this. A -1. That's what a lot of students do because they're lazy, especially the ones that are really strong. That's what they write. I don't want to see that because that's terrible layout, terrible habit. By the time you get to year 12, you're going to be one of the weakest students, not the strongest students. Lay it out because mathematics is about critical thinking. You lay it out like that. 6 months later, I'll ask you, I'll say, why was this answer -1? You won't be able to tell me. But 6 months later, if I pointed at this and I said, why is your answer -1? You can tell me. That's the difference between the year 12s who do really well because when they revise for an exam, they can actually revise. These kids can't revise. These kids wing it because they rely on their intelligence. Some of you are really intelligent and you can pick up things quick. It's doable at junior, at senior level. You can't. Because some of the questions we do can take a full page to solve. You can't do all that in your head. So you have to learn to lay it out neatly, organized, so that you can actually solve it. That's why we're training you to write vertically. Okay, so do it vertically. All right. Let's do another problem. Let's do the next one. -1. So again, on the number line, let's have a think where we are. Negative. So 0 is here. Am I on the left or on the right? Left. Hands up for left. Hands up for right. Okay, good. So we're on the left side because it's -1. So -1, I'll write -1. Here we go. I start here. And now I'm saying minus. So it means I should be getting less, right? I'm getting smaller. So which direction am I going? Left or right? Left. So I'm moving to the left. So let's look at the number line again. -1's here. I'm going to the left now. So this is left by how many units? 3. So I go 3 to the left. So you go 1, 2, 3. You can see here this is one jump. So I'm at -2. Another jump. That's -3. And the third jump, I'm now at -4. So the answer for this one, so I go back 1, 2, 3. I should end up at -4. Over time, you get much better instead of doing the hops, you actually realize you started at 1, and because you're adding this direction, you add another 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4, and you know it's in the negative side, so you write -4. So over time, you'll be able to figure that out. So some of you strong students would have done that. Weaker students, that's where you want to get to. So you don't have to draw hops every time. Okay, but you start to realize, is my answer going to be negative or my answer going to be positive by looking at the direction you're heading? Let's try the next one. -1 plus 4. So again, let's do a method. So this time I'm going to not use the number line up here. I'm going to get you to try to visualize it. So 0, -1, I'm starting on the left. Here we go, -1, starting here. I'm plussing 4 now. So let's do a bit of thinking. I'm 1 on the left. If I'm adding 4, so I'm moving to the right by 4, would my overall answer be positive or negative? Positive. Positive, because there's so little negative. By the time I move 4 units across, I'm going to be at the positive side. So I already know the answer has to be positive. But how much? Where am I at? Some students still need to do the hops, and that's okay. So here we go. Let's do the hops. So from here, I move to the right. So remember, this means right by, I'm going to go 4. So let's go, that's 1. So I'm at 0. 2. 2 steps makes it 1 now. 3 steps makes it 2. 4 steps. Oh, not 4. 3. So you can count there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 units. And it brings me to 3. So my answer is positive 3. Another way, so sometimes students, when they look at this, they're like, oh man, that was hard to kind of figure out that it was actually 3. Have you realized if you had just swapped the way it looks, that's a plus 4, which really means positive 4. This is the same thing as saying 4, positive 4, take away 1. 4 take away 1 is 3. See, that's another way of visualizing it. You just swap the order. But when you swap it, you got to remember the signs go with each other. So -1 is 1 sign, plus 4 is 1 sign. So -1 plus 4 is actually the same as saying 4, positive 4, take away 1. So that means if I gave you -11 plus 30, yeah, this means the same thing as saying positive 30, take away 11. It's much easier. Yeah, so out of the 2, I sometimes do that in a test just to see, like, do you realize what I'm doing? I just swap them around. So this one, a lot of students give up. It's like, oh, big numbers. But if I did this, a lot of kids will get it right. Isn't it funny? It's just the way you visualize the numbers. That's positive 30. That's a -11. So you lose 11 or you gain 30. Same thing here. You gain 30 or you lose 11. Same thing, but 30 take away 11, a lot of you will feel confident to do. I chuck that one in, and a lot of you go, oh, I don't know how to do it, and give up. That's the thing about mathematics. Don't give up. Some of the problems are actually a lot easier than you think. It's one of the things I like about maths. Trains your resilience. Don't give up too early. So what's this one then? Based on what I just said. 5 minus 1, which is? 1. See, another way of looking at that is you've got -4, and you got 5 that you gain. You can actually rewrite that as, isn't it just positive 5? Take away 4, that gives you 1. That's another way of thinking about it. But like I said, you can still go back and do what I've just taught you. You can still say, number line, -4 is on the left. Starting here, plus 5 goes to the right. Yes?
It only works with 1 positive and 1 negative. Because if you had 2 negative numbers, it would be.
So that's where this table will come in. Okay, so this is what I'm going to teach next, and we're just going to pause there. Next lesson, we'll then finish off F. But yes, you're correct. That's why this next page is meant to help you simplify the problem when you have double negatives and all that. Very good question. Or very good point. So -4 plus 5, another way of thinking about it is, yes, you're starting at -4. Plus means you're going to the right. And if I go to the right by 5, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Makes sense. 4 units here. So that should be 4. Brings you back to 0. Move an extra 1. That's now positive 1. Yeah.
Isn't it like when you have like 2 negatives, it turns into positive?
Yes. Do you know why though? Do you know why?
Because like it just is like
It just is. It's just facts. It's very good. I love it. All right, team. Let's go. Does that make sense so far? Hands up if you feel relatively confident for 1E, because that's 1E. All right, that's very good. So this is exercise 1E. Okay? This next bit is actually intro into 1F, which we'll do next Monday. Okay, but I'm just trying to give you the vibe of how I teach. Yeah? Usually we have more time, but it's just because there's a lot of admin so far. All right, let's do this last page, and then I'll give you some time to work on the quiz if you haven't done it, or you can start working on exercise 1E. Okay? Sorry? Yeah. Whatever you don't finish in class becomes homework. Does that make sense? Well, I haven't actually taught you to upload yet. So next lesson I'll teach you to upload. So starting from next week, whatever you don't finish in class is homework. All right, team, here we go. Let's take in some notes. So this part I'm going to get you to memorize for now, and then I'll slowly explain it next week as to why it works. Basic integer properties to understand. So this is just memorizing. Let's see if you can memorize. The sign in front of a number, so whether you have positive or negative, tells us the direction. Okay, it tells you the direction that you need to head in. So when I say +4, we know that we're moving to the right. -4, we know we're going to the left. But it also might help you to think a negative as saying the language. It might help you to think of it as reverse or opposite. Because on your calculators, you may not have realized there is actually a difference between two operations. Shh. Thank you. Don't speak while I'm speaking. There is a minus symbol. So minus, let me write it again. Versus negative. On your calculators, the green ones, they actually show in brackets a smaller hyphen. That's a negative. This big line is called minus. That's the operation. Okay, so that's subtraction. There's a difference between the two. When you see a negative, that's what I'm trying to say here. When you see a negative, think of it as saying reverse or do the opposite. Go the opposite direction. So let's see here. You got 2 plus. Now if I put a negative in front of it, so that's a negative. That's not an operation. This is negative. That tells me do the reverse, do the opposite. Okay? So plus, what direction should I be going if it's plus? Go to the right. But as soon as you put a negative, you're saying do the opposite of that or reverse it. What's that? Go to the left. So this actually now means when you say go to, so it was right, but then do, then opposite. That actually means go left. But what operation makes you go left?
Negative.
Not negative. Minus. Minus is the language. So minus looks like this. It's a longer one. Okay? So 2 plus a negative 2 actually means overall, it actually means 2 go left 2. So what's 2 go left 2? 0. That's one of the first confusions. So they just before said that's just facts. Plus negative becomes minus, right? And I am going to get you just to memorize. Next week, I'll explain the logic to what that actually means, why we do that. Okay? But for now, let's just write it in. So if you do plus...
Why are you guys laughing at this?
Oh, sorry. Actually, it was meant to be over this one. Whoops. This one was meant to be positive. My bad. I just realized it's plus positive, plus negative. So just copy these notes down to this one. So this one should have been right, then opposite, which equals go left. Whereas this top one, that was meant to be positive, positive, so that becomes 4. Sorry, my bad. Oh, you can do it and then just draw the arrow. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so because this is not doing the opposite, it's saying plus positive 2 means go to the right and continue going to the right. So therefore, right plus right means go right. Okay? No, you don't have to. I'm writing it so you understand what those symbols actually mean. So what direction you're going. So write your own notes that helps you understand. Yeah, you don't have to copy word for word. As long as you understand your own notes, that's what I want you to do. Okay? Vijus and Sam?
Yeah.
Thank you. Please don't speak while I'm speaking. All right, let's have a look at the next one. Next one is minusing. So I'm subtracting. So it says subtracting a positive number. So again, this means go to the left. Minus means go left. But then this one doesn't mean opposite, just means right. But because this is the direction, remember that tells you direction. This is just telling you position. So you're in a positive 2 or 2 units. So minus, you're still going left. That doesn't change the direction. So you still go
Left.
Go left. It's only when you have a negative, it says reverse it. If you don't have a negative, it doesn't reverse it. Yeah, so that means minus plus, because you're still going left, the operation is still a minus. Okay, so remember that positive doesn't do the opposite of that. It just goes, yeah, cool, keep going to the left. I'll add more to it. So if you're going left, I'm like, cool, here, add another 2 steps to the left. So if you said, I'm doing 2 steps to the left, I'm like, good, add another 2 steps to it. So you continue going to the left. True? So that's what add means. You keep going what you're doing. So that's why when we say left, keep going left. Whereas this one means go right. But technically this now means go the opposite. I want you to go backwards by 2. So if you're like, I'm taking 2 steps to the right, I'm like, good, now do the opposite. Go left by 2. Yeah, so that's why that's reversed. So negative, think of as reverse or opposite. So if you don't have a negative, you don't have to switch. All right, so that means a negative, so minusing a positive number ends up being minus. So this is minus, this is plus. Remember, minus and negative are different, yeah? Don't confuse the two. Minus is the operation. Negative is the opposite, reversing, yeah. All right, let's have a look at the last one then. Oh, didn't I? Oh, yeah, I didn't. Sorry. 2 minus 2, 0. Last one to copy for today. Here we go. So, let's look at the operation. It's a minus. Minus goes? Left. Sam?
So, it's like, well, so, since there's 2 lines, what I do, since there's 2 lines, you can kind of make that into a plus sign.
That's another way of thinking about it. If that helps you, if that helps other students, 2 negatives make, or sometimes they say 2 wrongs make a right. That's another way of thinking about it. But again, I'm going to go with my own teaching. Pause for a second. Shh. Let's see the language. Minus means left. And then negative. Remember, negative means opposite. So if I'm going left, now they're saying do the opposite of that. So if I'm doing opposite of left, that means go to the right. And the operation for going to the right is the same thing as a plus, because plus makes it larger. So going to the right makes larger. That's another way of reading it so that you interpret what it's saying. So I'm saying start at 2. Now I was about to go left, but then that negative means do the opposite. So that means I'm going to the right. So that means I'm starting at 2 and I'm going to the right by 2. So 2, add another 2, gives me 4. But that means that double negatives, or technically a subtracting a negative, so minusing a negative number is the same thing as plussing, because you're always going to the right. This is the chart to memorize, and last year you may have memorized it like this. Might have been like plus is plus minus is minus positive is negative, and negative is positive. The reason why I don't like this is because you're mixing up the language, and then hence you're mixing up the understanding. You would say positive is positive negative, but that's not negative. That is a negative number. So it's plussing negative, minusing positive, subtracting a negative. That's what the language is. There's a difference to it. And that's why students forget and don't understand why they do it. And some of you are good at memorizing. If you'd practiced enough, you memorized that. But it's not about memorizing. I'm about you understanding why this works. Yeah? Which next week I'll tell you why. All right, so difference between minus and negative? Minus is the operation. It's what you do with the numbers. Negative is essentially the direction. It tells you where to go, what to do with that number. Okay? And that's why I think that's one of the key differences. And on your calculator, that's why they write minus symbol. There's a minus, and then negative. They actually put in brackets in a shorter sign. They do this specifically because there is a difference between the two. One does something with the numbers, one just tells you direction. Okay? All right, team, that is technically intro into exercise 1F. So those who are confident, you can do 1F in advance. Otherwise, today's lesson is really just trying to get you to do that. So I want to see question, so the problem, method, answer. Okay? If you're really strong already and you can do just problem, answer, that's okay, but I want you to check your answers. Check your answers as you go. Otherwise, you can spend 15 minutes getting them all wrong. I need to know that you know you're on the right track. Okay, so as you're looking through the learning map, why did I print it for you? Look at the skills that you should be able to do. So this one belongs to, which number is this? This belongs to A2.1. It says adds or subtracts negative integers without using a number line for guidance. That's what 1E is. So 2.1, are you confident you can tick that off? So if I don't tick it off for you, do you know that you can do it? I prefer that you do the jumps for now. Later on you don't have to. But otherwise you can just write question answer. Later on when the problems get harder, that's when I can see. You can, but you still have to write the problem though. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's only not fine if he was like ahead of you. Let's say he's doing 1F, but you're on 1E, then I want you to have a separate one. All right, here we go. What questions do you do? Now remember the sheet I gave to you last week. You should have this. You have this course outline, so it tells you what you do per week. So we're in week 2. And we're doing exercise E and F, but because we lost the session, it's going to move on to next week. Questions. Here are your suggested questions. It's on the same sheet I gave to you. Notice there are 3 columns. All right, eyes and ears towards the board. Thank you. I just want you to understand what I did to separate it for you to understand. Exercise 1E. You can start here, here, or here, but don't do all 3. You choose 1, 2, or 3. So column 1, middle column, or the third column. In summary, this here is for the students who generally struggle with memorizing, like your times tables, your factors, knowing the rules for formulas. You spend more time in fluency section. So that's why there's more questions in fluency. Lesson problem solving, listening, no enrichment. These are for students who are actually not too bad. Like they're not the worst in times tables, but they're not the best either, but they're just okay. But you can also maybe do a bit of problem solving. So some worded questions. This now has a bit more problem solving, but still does fluency. And a bit more in reasoning. Versus the students over here, your times tables are really good. You feel pretty confident. Multiples, factors, therefore fractions will be pretty easy. This section is if you have tutors and all that, usually we'll be working this section here because I want you to do less fluency, more problem solving, more reasoning, and enrichment. Okay, because that's what it is. And usually the kids who belong here, sometimes when I'm going through these notes, you already know it. In this, as I get to know you, I will split you up and then I could say, those kids that are doing this column, when we come into the session, if you feel that you already know the topic, you start working on the problems. So that way you have less work to do at home. So you start working on the problems. Versus the kids who are in these 2 sections, this is where you can copy my notes. So copying my notes is optional only if you belong to this column. And I will be able to determine who sits in this column roughly as I'm watching and seeing how we go. Okay, so I don't want kids who just ignore what I'm doing throughout the session, but belong here. So if you're not listening to me, not copying my notes, and you're here, your times tables are strong, your layouts and your understanding of mathematics very weak, it just means you're wasting time in my class. Okay, so these are for notes taking. This is where you're independently learning because you're pretty good yourself already. You're self-motivated, do your own things. Then you come to my lesson, get right onto the work. Get on to learning yourself. Okay?
Why was it you kind of an edge between the two?
Oh, well then you can try other one and find out. Sometimes, say you might be like here for this one, but then you might be here for this one. It's okay. But that's why I pick one of the 3 columns. Don't do all 3. Because you only choose half, I don't want you to do all. So sometimes like 6A, 6B, 6D, 6E, 6F, 6G, but they're all the same skills. I don't need you to do 6 of them to show me that you get it. I need you to do half of
So
them.
what? So for the verb, we do the same one as we do 2. And also the fluency also do 2.
Yeah, so 2 to 5, this one's 2 to 6, but they have an extra question in problem solving. These guys have less, and they have an extra question in reasoning. These guys have less. These guys start at 1. So these guys do question 1 as a preliminary, and they do fluency. Whereas here, generally most students will start at 2. Okay?